Go live, Mackenzie. Hello, everyone. I'm very grateful that you took the time to tune in to today's episode of The Kim Jacobs Show. Listen, we have a great show lined up for you. I'm your host, Kim Jacobs, better known as the Balance Doctor. And all of our guests that come on, they're either people that have overcome some tremendous odds in their own lives as they balance this thing called life, or they're experts and they're here to share tips and strategies that will help you better balance and manage your life. Grab your virtual seats and let's get ready for some real, relevant, and relatable content on today's episode of The Kim Jacobs Show. Hello again, everyone, and welcome to this episode of The Kim Jacobs Show. I am quite honored to have with us today Dr. Paulette Harper. How are you, Dr. Paulette?
Hello, Kim. I'm doing wonderful. Thank you so much for having me on today.
I am so honored. I feel almost like my cheeks are burning and everything because I've had you on many times, especially as a best-selling author. You've proven that this is what you're gifted at doing, being able to cultivate and develop and help other people even recognize their gifts by becoming an author as well. But I've had you on in that capacity. But I've never had you on to really hear your personal story.
So I know. I've been on a lot of times.
But never to tell your personal story. So it's a whole different ball game, right?
Yeah, definitely. Because I think people need to know your backstory to really hear and understand what your passion is today and why you have the passion that you do.
That's interesting. And I do agree with that. And then I also have a philosophy too, that in some instances, it has to be, when is it God's timing to even share your story? Because when your story impacts so many other people, sometimes that is something that you have to use some wisdom regarding as well. So what do you say today that people can expect to hear throughout today's discussion? I'd rather you kind of sum it up, even though I already know.
I think people will hear some things that they don't know about me because people look at my smile, people look at the fact that I have, all these accolades, in which I do, and I give God the glory for them. But they don't know what transpired in my life. So they'll probably be surprised by some things if they've never heard my story before. They'll be surprised by some of the things that I may share with them. And one of the things you mentioned was when it's time to, when you feel the release to share, And for me, I've actually been talking about this. This has been my story for a long, long time. Okay. And this is my signature story that gets me on platforms like this, on different stages. And a lot of my writings come from the history of the things that I have experienced in life, because I believe that, God allows us to go through those things to shape us, to mold us, to cultivate us, to grow us up, to develop us as believers. And it's up to us to really learn and know how to navigate those experiences so that we always come out on top.
That is such a good synopsis. So everyone, if you haven't already, make sure you share this broadcast. Invite your friends, family, coworkers, church members, anybody that you know, authors, any of those tribes that you're in. Make sure you all go ahead and tag those individuals. Don't let them miss today's episode for any reason. I can pretty much tell you it's going to be heartbreaking and heartwarming. So grab your seatbelt and let's get ready for a virtual roller coaster. Let me introduce Dr. Harper. She is affectionately known as the Story Activator. Dr. Paulette Harper is a 13-time best-selling author. That's huge. 13-time best-selling author, 2-time award-winning author, speaker, and leader in the literary marketplace. And She is the founder of One Story University. We're going to learn more about One Story University, which I'll let her talk about what she specializes in. And she also, as a self-publishing coach, she teaches emerging authors to tap into their own creativity and turn words into stories so that they can accomplish their dreams of becoming a published author. She's also known as the curator of Unlock the Writer 90-day program. It's a lot of things that she's offering here. This is an online course, and we're going to learn more about that as well throughout today's discussion. But she enables her clients to build their confidence, grow, and see their new possibilities while creating the results that they desire. This woman, again, has created over 120 plus best-selling authors. That's like an all-time high number of anybody that I know personally that's created that many other authors. Welcome, Dr. Paulette Harper.
Thank you, Kim. I'm excited about being here on your platform. I appreciate you.
All right. So listen, everybody, we're going to take a commercial break. And when we come back, we're going to hear more about Dr. Paulette Harper and her story. Today's topic is how emotional trauma actually led to her becoming a master storyteller. We're going to be right back right after this commercial break.
I'm attorney Charles Everidge. I started out representing insurance companies until my father was seriously injured at work. 4 of his fingers were amputated. Our family went through a lot, so I know what you're going through as an injured worker. If you've been hurt on the job, call me now. I'll fight to get the workers' comp benefits you may deserve. I'll fight for you like family. Put my experience to work for you. Call 704-457-5000, the first call for injured workers.
All right, everyone, we're back here on the Kim Jacobs Show talking with Dr. Paulette Harper. And we're going to hear about just, first of all, what was Dr. Paulette Harper like even prior to trauma happening in your life? So I'd rather kind of hear a little bit about what happened before. And you probably were already on a great path before some trauma hit. So talk to us about that.
Yeah, trauma comes in so many different forms.
Yes.
And so prior to me going through emotional trauma, I was married to a pastor for 23 years. And the backstory with our relationship was the fact that I met him when I was 14. And so he was 16. And so we went to the same high school together. We lived in a small community in Northern California. And so we grew up, together. We became high school sweethearts, and we were actually dubbed the couple to never divorce. And so, we had that relationship of being high school sweethearts, going to dances together. And then, we grew in that, and we, got married in our early 20s. And so, that was our life, and then we got called into ministry to start pastoring. And so then that was another layer of our life, and then it was the kids that came into the mix of it all, and then, doing the work of God, doing the ministry, he's called to do, to preach. I'm called to preach. And so we have these things going on in our lives. And that's really what how we got started together, from high school to college, and then ultimately to accepting the call of God on our lives, and then to start pastoring as well.
Wow. Okay. So that everything that you just described is indicative of so many women that get married in their younger years.
Yeah.
And usually it's to either a high school or a college sweetheart or someone that you 100% know that you're going to be with that person for the rest of your life. That's why you chose the person, right?
Yeah.
Or at least that's why they chose you, and you thought 2 became 1, and all of the things that God ordains, right? Especially when you believe the word of God. And so as you're going through life, doing life, do you have any vision of anything starting to kind of go south? Or do you really think it doesn't matter what we go through, we are on one accord, we're going to make it?
Well, the thing about being in leadership and being in ministry, one of the things that people fail to realize is that as pastors and ministry leaders, we go through our own struggles. We have to fight the enemy just like you do. And even more so because we're the called ones to pastor. And so people don't understand that as leaders, we have our own struggles, we have our own fights that we're going through. And so the thing about being in ministry, we're not going to let you see that. You the flock, you the sheep. We're not going to let you see our struggle. We're not going to let you see what we're facing and what we're going through, because we have to mask it. We have to put on the mask every time we go before you, so that you don't see that we're going through this struggle ourselves, And so the things that begin to happen in ministry is the enemy does not care who you are, what your title is, what you bring to the table, how anointed you are, how gifted you are, how many people you have in your ministry. He does not care about anything like that. Right. What he does care about is your future. What he does care about is the seeds that you've sown that's going to grow later in the future. What he does care about is your legacy that you leave. And so if he could stop the leaders, if he could stop the people of God in their tracks by, an onslaught of trauma, an onslaught of trials, an onslaught of things that divert you from your calling, then that's what he's going to do, And one of the things that I learned in my journey is that for me, it was about, having this relationship, with the Lord, with my husband, my ex, with the people of God and in ministry. And when those things begin to crumble, the things in life begin to crumble, because for me, it was the fact that I had built this foundation on nothing other than the man that was before me. I met him when I was 14. So you got to understand the history of that. I met him when I was 14. And so this was the person that I did life with. This was the person that I went to dances with. This was the person that I was intimate with. This was the person that I ultimately married. And this is the person that I had committed my life to forever,
Right.
And when things went south, for me, it was, oh my God, what do I do with the life that I thought I was going to have for the rest of my life, And that's where trauma begins to come in. And trauma comes in very subtly, For me, I didn't recognize that it was trauma until I had been so deep into it. And when you are going through a divorce, a loss, something so major, especially when your foundation has been erupted. Okay. And so when you're going through emotional trauma, whatever the case may be for you, it is something that happens on impact, and you don't really know the depths of the impact unless you kind of sit back and you see how your life is unfolding, how it is evolving, how your life is unraveling, how the darkness is taking over. And so for me, it was really going through that period of realizing that life was not going to be the same anymore, that I was going to do life without this individual. And so now for me, I'm at a hopeless state. Yes, I'm saved. I know the Lord, but yet I realized that God allowed these things to happen in my life to prune me, to develop me, to grow me up, to show me that there was strength inside of me. He allowed me to go through the darkest, the worst time of my life, so that once I came out, I could see that, I could make it, I could survive. And there was something more that God wanted me to do. But I had to go through this process. I had to go through this crushing. I had to, because in order for me to get to the blessing that God wanted me to have, I had to go through this turmoil that I have faced in life. And that is where the emotional trauma comes in. And anybody dealing with trauma, there's so many different levels to that. For me, it was the depression, the abandonment issues. It was the rejection, the spirit of rejection. And it was the loneliness. But on top of that, it was the spiritual warfare that I had to go through for my own life, And I know for the church, one of the things that is such a stigma is counseling, is getting help for the things that you're going through, And for me, it was Jesus' prayer and girl, get a counselor. It was counseling, because I learned that nobody was going to save Paulette. Nobody was going to save me except Paulette. Yes, I know God was there. Yes, I know he takes care of me. He heals me. He delivers me. I know that. But there were some things that Paulette had to go through. There was some internal work that Paulette had to do. How in the world did the woman of God get to this place where she wanted to die?
Yeah, that's what I wanted to find out from you specifically, because it's one thing for us to lead in ministry, to lead God's people. But then when you're behind the scenes and you're dealing with it yourself, how do you really go through that? And how did you get through so that other women that are watching and men that are watching, because this doesn't only happen to women, it happens to men too, that
Yeah.
find themselves in a divorce that they weren't anticipating or even ever thinking was possible for their lives. So how did you get through your circumstances and situation?
Yeah, so for me, it was, the Lord began to put a couple of women back into my life that I hadn't seen in years. And so, in fact, I had gone through, this was when I was going through the divorce at this time, and I had went to this other ministry, and I was in the ladies' bathroom, and I came out, to wash my hands and whatnot. And I see this woman who I had not seen in years. And we looked at each other and we're like, what? And God, yeah, it was such an intervention of timing and God, where I met her in the bathroom, but it was all ordained of the Lord. And so we rekindled that relationship that we had, and at that time she didn't know that I was going through my divorce.
Mm.
And so I could trust her. I could trust her at a place where I could share with her what I was going through. And so God began to put, people back into my life that helped me go through what I had went through. And that's one of the things that you have to have. You have to have somebody that you can trust, somebody who's not going to judge you, somebody who's going to, take your request to God, somebody who's going to encourage you, and somebody who's going to build you up. Because at this point, I'm torn down. At this point, I'm broken, and I don't need somebody to come and say, you should have did this, you should have did that. No, I need somebody to uplift me. I need somebody to pray for me. I need somebody to encourage me. And God put those people in my life. So it was those ladies that came back into my life to do that very same thing. They were on assignment just for me.
Wow. And you knew that even in the midst of your own trials and tribulations, you knew that those women were assigned to you, or were you resisting it in some way and not really willing to open up completely?
No, they were assigned to me because I hadn't seen them in such a long time, and they came at a pivotal point in my life where I needed them. And so they were assigned to me to help me through that, and then it was I went to counseling. I went to counseling because at this point I knew that my marriage wasn't going to be saved, but Paulette had to save herself. And so, I went to counseling to save Paulette, because Paulette was at a point where if she didn't get there, Paulette was going to kill herself. Paulette was going to die, because I was going through so much depression during that time, and hopelessness, and the strongholds and the mental battles that I was going through. One of the things that I had to deal with, emotional trauma, it affects you financially, it affects you emotionally, it affects you spiritually, it affects you physically as well. And one of the things that happened to me because of the stress and the anxiety of going through that, I had a migraine headache that lasted for 365 days. Every day I had a migraine. I went to sleep with a migraine. I woke up with a migraine. And the thing about going through all of that, I still had to get up and go to work. So I was a functioning depressant. Nobody knew that I was even going through what I was going through. Nobody even knew that I was facing divorce. Nobody even knew. And that's one of the things that we do as women, men, is we hide the pain because we are ashamed of it. We hide the pain. We're ashamed of it because we don't want nobody to know. No, you got to come free from that, And so, those are the things that happened to me. And it was the women, and then also the counseling.
I'm glad you talked about emotional, even just some signs and symptoms and things to consider, because not everybody even knows whether they're dealing with emotional trauma or if it's just that they're overwhelmed by the situation, which seems regular and normal when you're going through different circumstances. But with this I actually looked this up on lakebehavioralhospital.com is where I'm getting this information. But it says psychological concerns, anxiety, panic attacks, fear, anger, irritability, obsessions, compulsions, shock, disbelief, emotional numbing and detachment, depression, shame, and guilt. And especially if this is a person that's dealing with trauma, survived, while others may not have been dealing with the trauma associated with whatever's going on. So that's just some of the psychological things. But even physical, like not being able to stay asleep, becoming easily startled and hyperventilating, edginess, rapid heartbeats. These are even just some of the physical unexplained aches and pains, like you said, the headaches, and all other kinds of things that can actually start to impact us if we don't seek help for emotional trauma. And so I'm grateful that you're here today to talk about this. How do you recommend that women and men that are dealing with emotional trauma from something they believe would happen for the rest of their lives in a positive way, and it turned out not to be that way? How do you recommend that they get through that from your perspective?
Well, first of all, Jesus, Jesus is the answer. But, for those who are dealing with that, is to really get help. It's okay to get help. It's okay as a believer to say, hey, I need somebody to talk to. I need somebody to kind of help me filter through my emotions and what I'm going through and how I can, not be stuck in this place. For me, counseling was that avenue. I wanted to go to counseling for my marriage, but he didn't want to go to counseling. But I had to go to counseling because Paulette was at such a bad space. So I would tell anybody, seek a counselor, seek somebody who is recommended, seek someone who is really known as an expert in that field, who can really help you kind of digest what's going on, accept what's going on, and then how you can really navigate from that place to get to a place of wholeness in your mind, a place of wholeness, a place of peace, and a place of security that you can move now through life without the trauma, because it's a choice. You have to think about, do I want to continue in the trauma, or do I want to be healed from it? And so you have to be able to identify it, okay? And then also you have to really realize that what didn't serve you before, that's the stuff you need to get rid of. And the counseling is going to help you do that.
That's really good. You know what? I heard a loud noise, so hold on one second. You give another one question that I wanted to ask as well is, can you change a person? Answer that for me, and I'm just going to take myself off the screen for a second.
Okay. So can you change an individual? No, you cannot. The only person that you can change is yourself. You can change your attitude. You can change your weight. You can change your disposition. You can change your perspective on life. You can change your health. You can change your marital status, but you cannot change anybody else. And so with that, knowing that, the thing about going into and wanting to get healed from it, you have to think about what is best for you. How can I survive this? How can I survive life? How can I do life differently? And how can I change me? And that's one of the things that happened to me when I went to therapy, and the ladies that were, brought back into my life, I had to look at myself. How can I change myself? How can I go through life now differently? How can Paulette become a better version of herself? How can she show up differently in life? And that was my attitude about it. I couldn't, really think about other people. I had to think about what was best for Paulette and what was best that was going to be her survival kit. Okay. And so it was really about changing who I was, because there was things about me that I didn't want to continue being that type of person. And I had to reinvent who I was. I had to come to grips with who Paulette was, re-identify who she is, get reinvented, get reintroduced to her, because Paulette didn't know who she was, because Paulette lost herself at 14, and then got married and then did ministry, all these things. So Paulette really didn't have a time to grow. Paulette didn't really have a time to get to know herself. Paulette really didn't get a chance to really explore life. And so when I was going through the divorce, it was an opportunity for me to do it, because now I had the freedom to do it, because all I had to be concerned with was Paulette. It wasn't about my ex ministry. It wasn't about my kids. It was about Paulette, and so really it's about changing who you are internally, and changing your mindset, that the way you used to think cannot be the way that you think as you move forward in life.
That's good. And how about even dealing with your child? Or do you have how many children do you have?
Yeah, so we have two adult daughters now, and so during that time they were, teenagers, and of course it was difficult for them, and so you try to really soften the blow to your kids as much as you can, and then of course you pray for them and you communicate with them and you talk to them. and so you really have to do whatever you can to protect them, and watch over them and guard them through that whole process. And so those are the things that we did. But at the end of the day, it is about really, each individual, doing whatever they need to do. For me, doing whatever I needed to do to make sure that Paulette saves herself so that Paulette can save somebody else.
And did your counselor teach you to talk in terms of Paulette as its own separate entity, type of thing?
No, one of the things that my counselor helped me to realize is the things that I was dealing with, because it was so emotional, and because I had put everything in this one basket. Okay. Ministry, him, my kids, and Paulette didn't have time to even think about who she was, and so for me, it was the counselor really showing me how to pull back those, pull back, those layers that was hidden within her. And so I've always been a speaker. We did ministry together, so I always preached. I always shared the word of God, And so during that time of trauma, my voice was just being muzzled. My voice was just being muted, and that was one of the things that I knew the enemy was trying to get me to do, was to stop speaking, to stop voicing my opinion, to stop preaching the word of God, to stop proclaiming, stop sharing, And once I got through that, I haven't been able to stop talking, because I've seen the goodness of the Lord in the land of the living. I've seen God heal me and deliver me.
You know what? The funny thing is, because I'm actually interviewing you, you're over in that seat and I'm over here. But I promise you, if you were over on this seat here and you were interviewing me, our stories would be very similar. So I just want to make sure that I don't take too much time to talk about me right now, since I'm hosting you. But oh my goodness, everything that you're sharing is so in alignment with me in my life as well. And it does make a difference whenever you are feeling like, oh God, I cannot, it's not possible for me to keep doing this or that, what fill in the blanks, because this happened or that happened. And whenever those blanks get filled in, God still reminds us that we are his chosen children, and that he still has a work for us to do. So don't let any circumstance or situation or a season that we're going through in our lives limit and put a cap or a lid on what he has purpose for us to do, because the plans are still the same plans he had for us all along individually. And we all have to work out our own individual soul salvation with fear and trembling. We cannot do that for somebody else. We can only do that for ourselves. So anyway, everything that you're saying, I would be talking at the same level that you are, just nonstop leaning over to the side and going for broke. So I know exactly what you're experiencing over there. All right. So listen, what we're going to do is we are going to, let me see. You know what, Mackenzie, we're going to take the commercial break with confidence tones. And then what we're going to do is come back and hear more from you, Dr. Paulette Harper, after we speak with our primary sponsor for today's episode, Dr. Dee Baer. She is here in the house, and she is going to be our featured sponsor today to talk to us for a few moments. Right after Confidence Tones is our next commercial break. We'll be right back, and Dr. Harper will pick up.
Welcome to Confidence Tones, where we use a proprietary audio development formula called audio immersion to provide an experience that's designed to help quickly and effortlessly generate positive change in the subconscious mind when used correctly. This experience is achieved using 4 primary building blocks: brainwave modulation, invocation of positive emotions, immersive imagination stimuli, and developmental suggestion. We know of no other source in the world that provides the synergistic combination. With a good pair of headphones, you'll be able to immerse yourself into audio that's designed specifically to help you feel better, do better, and live better.
We are back, and you actually see here our episode sponsor, which is Dr. Dee Baer. And I always like to make sure that I pop this up. Dr. Dee Baer is the sponsor with Confidence Tones. Many of you all watch the Kim Jacobs Show and you get to see this commercial, but I wanted to let you see who's behind the commercial. It's Dr. Dee Baer, America's top health coach, and also how you can stay connected with her to learn more about confidence tones and even what she's going to be talking about today. 800-820-0584. You can also visit drjodee.com or email her at jodee@healthcoachjodee.com. All right. Welcome, Dr. Dee Baer. How are you, America's top health coach?
I am always better when I'm with the Kim Jacobs. There's just so much that I got out of what Paulette was saying about trauma and whatever. I just want to put this in right out of the gate, if I may, because there is a series, since I am an absolute expert with this modality with confidence tones. It is truly brainwave entrainment. We talked about this before, Kim. If you are a believer, which I am, it's not some moogie foogie, whatever. It's actually physical and mental ways of reprogramming your brainwaves. There is a complete system on trauma detox. And I just wanted, because I felt like there's somebody out there that needs to hear that. If you have been going through the counselors use this program in addition, like home care, like taking a prescription, to use confidence tones. That's what I do for my life coaching clients that really need a boost. Isn't it better than drugs? Because hugs are better. Hugs
I'm excited about it because everyone that's gotten the product, the confidence tones, they are extremely pleased with it. So I encourage you to definitely visit confidencetones.com and get yours today. And let me introduce Dr. Dee Baer, PhD, holistic nutritionist, certified foundational health coach, and alternative health pioneer for 42 years is what she is. And she has a whole holistic approach that actually serves over 30,000 clients to lose over 1 million pounds of toxic fat and keep it off. Today, she's going to be here talking from the perspective of a book that she recently released called 21 Days to Your Best You. I'm going to pop that up here on the screen so you'll get to see the visual. And tell us about your book.
Well, because what I would say, because this has been my life treatise, like my husband, Dr. Bob Baer, calls it my magnum opus. It's coming out on the 17th. But the thing that I'm so excited, we had to postpone that. As you know, Kim, my graphic artist passed away tragically in a fire. 90% of the graphic art, and you've been an author, Paulette's been an author. She does this as an author, self-publishing coach. 90% of the work at the end is done by graphic. We had to completely redo that. I just want to give a big shout out for Ignite Publishing. How we've been able to recreate this has been nothing short of a miracle. It looks like Danya's cover. But what I was called to do is between now and the 30th of January, but I believe we're going to get there by the 21st, which is the book launch time.
Let me give condolences regarding Danya. You said Danya.
Yes.
Okay. Yes. I just want to give our deepest condolences to her and her family and regarding her passing. And I'm very sorry to hear that news.
Yes. And it was just like she was gone, 32 years old, hotel fire. You never know. And so we came together, and you know how it just says, do something. Well, what we've decided to do with our book here is all proceeds. Did I say all? The word is all proceeds. Now until the 21st of May will go to the Danya Safar Memorial School of Hope. We're building a school of hope in her hometown in Pakistan for young graphic artists, musicians, aspiring people, so that her family can see this school. And it's not her, but it's going to be a legacy. So this is what I'd like to share with your beautiful audience. If you go to drjodee.com, as you know, you get more proceeds and more profit on the book. So not only do you get a discount right now, but there's more profit rather than waiting till Amazon, more profit so we can give to Danya. And that's what I'm saying. And I'm so grateful. Then we're coming together on the 20th. We're going to be doing a party because, you know, I'm blue. That's my personality. I like to have a party. I
thought it was the 21st.
The 20th is when we're going to have a party.
Oh,
And then we're coming together on the 21st. We're going to have 2 events during this book launch, 5 days, and it's called A Life of Excellence. I'm so pleased to announce that there will be people that noted people like the Kim Jacobs, Dr. Kalila Kamancha Ali, Les Brown, Serena Brown, Travis, Dame Doria Cordova, Rex Sykes, Jay Nolan. 20 of the people that have had a life of excellence. I'm so proud to say that you're my sister, Kim. You're in that milieu. And we're asking for a minimum $25 donation because we're now at 18,000. We only need 35,000 to build the whole school. And for those of you that love climate and being ecologically sound, because we are caretakers of this earth.
Yes.
You know what this school is built out of, Kim?
What?
Out of recycled bottles.
Oh.
It's all recycled material. It's that's why it's such a beautiful, beautiful thing. And the last thing that I wanted to share today, I hope we're okay.
Oh, yes.
But what Dr. Paulette was saying about you and you. See, this book is a 21-day manual. It takes you through 3 keys in your life, which are you and you.
You and you. So somebody type that in the comments section. There are 3 keys in life. One is you and you.
Yes.
Okay.
And why is it 3? That is a divine number. Every religion has the triune, the third eye. Everything is 3. That's a divine number. So it's you for 7 days. Then you and others.
You and others. Somebody type that in the comments section. Type you and others. Okay.
Because you're in real relationships. It's not relationships. It's real relationships. It's being real. And then you go into you and your world.
Okay. So you and you, you meaning it's just all about you and focusing on yourself. You and others, meaning real relationships, you and others, which I see you typing, Benita. Thank you so much. You and others. And then the third one is you and
your world.
And
because
your
you can only Paulette said this so well today about you cannot help others. Flight attendants always say, put the mask on yourself before putting it on your child. And I came up with this about you. It's an original.
Okay.
Because I don't care whether you're a mom, a dad, a stay-at-home dad, whether you are a preacher, whether you are a lawyer, a health coach, a consultant, a speaker, whatever your job is, electrician, contractor, student, you are the president of You Incorporated.
Yes. How many of you believe that you are the president of You Incorporated?
Yes.
Oh my gosh. Yes.
And when you are president of You Incorporated, then you can affect change wherever you are, whatever you do, because of the way you are being. We always think that we want to do. We have to do. And then so you can have everything you want, but it really goes with be, do, and have.
Be, do, and have. Be, do, and have. I hope that you all are typing this in the comment section. I see a lot of you all doing that. And Benita says that she believes that theory as well. My mom also says she believes it. And I see all of your comments coming in. Listen, how do they get a copy of 21 Days? And let me ask this. Why did you choose 21 days? Because like you just said, 3 is an important number, but 21 days is an important number. Tell us why.
I got a little health coach tip for you.
Okay.
Men and women both have a 21-day cycle. Just not women. So we have that 21-day cycle, and you can make or change and break a habit in 21 days. So this book is designed, I should say our book, because I believe the creator of all brought this down into me to give this
deposited it.
And deposited it. 40 years of health coaching. As Bob said, my husband, it's my magnum opus. What is this? This is 21 days. You go through each and every day. Believe it's for real. Creating record fever, the spark of imagination, your burning desire, your greatness within. My favorite story is Dumb Luck, and it's about King David. You know, he wasn't born king of Israel, but guess what? He started out just being the Old Testament Uber driver. It's just, he was just taking care of the little things. And then you go on to how to have charisma, because charisma can be learned, and many, many other things, and become a human becoming, because we're all spiritual beings in a human experience. So you can go to drjodee.com/books. But as you're there, and I put it in the private chat,
Yes.
you can take the 21-day wisdom tidbits on the run, because I built this on 6 human characteristics that have been around since ancient times: spiritual, physical, mental, emotional, social, and financial. So there are tidbits, 3 of them every single day on the 21 days, and a best you tidbit. So you can take this 42-page ebook, which is called 21 Keys of Tidbit Wisdom. You can take it on the run. You can take it on the run. Why not? Because then you can run with me, Dr. Jodee. I would be honored to say, and we're going to give acknowledgments on the School of Hope for every person that donates through this book will be listed on the website. We'd love to list your name. And you can go to and donate even more than the book to Danya Zafar, spelled Zafar, memorial.com.
Okay, I'm grateful that you're saying that again. Make sure you all know you can get your free ebook, and this is in the comment section for you. You can get that today. It's drjodee.com/blog/21-wisdom-tidbits. And I'm saying that because I also have people on iHeartRadio and Spotify, and you're only hearing this content. So go to drjodee.com/blog/21-wisdom-tidbits. And then as far as donating to Danya's project, and this is going to be in honor of a housing, is it going to be housing that's going to be created? Right now, they're all already over halfway there. So they need the donations to be able to reach the $35,000 goal, correct?
Yes.
All right. And it's for what again? What is it going to be for?
The Danya Zafar Memorial School, and it's DANIAZAFAR memorial.com. But you can just go to Dr. Jodee, it's DRJODEE.com. Buy my book. Your proceeds will go there. Send me an email. I'll keep you connected.
All right, everyone. You've heard it from our primary sponsor today, Dr. Dee Baer. Thank you so much for taking the time to be here with us and for just enlightening us. 21 days to the best you and confidencetones.com. All right, Dr. Jodee, have a great rest of your day.
I tell you, it's a pleasure partnering with you, because you are the balanced doctor, and we're doing it with confidence.
All right. All right. Have a great one. We're going to hear from Silver Shield Security and come right back with Dr. Paulette Harper right after this commercial break. We'll be right back.
I have peace of mind with Silver Shield Security, which has been protecting my family and home, along with servicing the Carolinas for over a decade. Silver Shield Security knows the importance of convenience and safety. Whether you live in an apartment, a home, or run a business, they are here to protect you from unwanted intrusions and fires. Call now at 704-440-4688 or visit the website at www.silvershield-security.com. You can use my promo code #ToneX and get 1/2 off your installation price. Don't forget to ask about the new no money down options. Let Silver Shield Security help to give you peace of mind, just like me and my family, and keep your business safe.
And we're talking with Dr. Paulette Harper about emotional trauma and how it led to her being a masterful storyteller. So now you've gone through some of the traumatic things and you came out literally, in my opinion, as pure gold. Okay. And so tell us about this woman right here for the rest of our story here today. Who is she?
OMG, I'm getting teary-eyed just because of the transformation and the power of a changed mind, and really having faith in, what God says and who God says you are and what the word says about you. And so for me, that person that you saw there was someone who got healed, someone who began to own her scars, began to share her truth, began to own her own truth, and began to walk in the purpose in which God had created. One of the things that I realized in going through what I did was that I had believed that God didn't allow me to go through it in vain. There was something more that God wanted me to do. There was something more that he wanted me. There was more territory that he wanted me to take. There were more people that he wanted me to reach. There was something different that my projection in life was going to take me. It was a totally different transformation for me and a totally different trajectory for my life. And so that individual is someone who has accepted, the call of God on her life to be the storyteller, And so I think the thing about believers and as we go through things, for me, I can still minister the word. I can still, preach the word of God, but there was something, storytelling and writing my story was not in the equation that Paulette had for herself. It was not in the equation at all. And so I remember one day talking to one of my girlfriends, and I said, I really believe God wants me to write a story. God wants me to write a book. And so I had no idea what that meant, how to do it. I wasn't around people who were authors. I had a word from the Lord, and that's all you need is a word from God. So I had a word from the Lord, write your book. And so I began to journal my progress. I began to journal my own process that I had gone through. And so as a storyteller, it's easier for me to be able to sit at the computer and allow the Holy Spirit to download, content to me. So, it's chapter by chapter. So my first book, That Was Then, This Is Now.
That's what it's called. That Was Then, This Is Now.
This Broken Vessel Restored. That was then, this is now. This Broken Vessel Restored was my very first book that really, really chronicled my trauma that I had gone through, the recovery that I had gone through. And one of the things that I was blessed to be able to do was once I finished reading my own book, I read it again and I looked at the power of a transformed mind. I looked at the power of God. I looked at where I was, the transformation God was having me go through, my struggles, my fight, the spiritual warfare that I was facing. But I began to see that as the chapters progressed, that I was making strides. I was being delivered. I was being healed. I was becoming the person that God had created me to be. I was becoming the better version of Paulette. I was becoming her. And so, once I wrote that one book, it was okay, write another book. Okay, Lord.
Okay, wait. I have to show. I'm going to have to show because I'm a visual person. So I want to pull in all of these different books so you can get a visual when you visit PauletteHarper.com, PauletteHarper.com. Here's what I want you to see. Go ahead now. Go through and tell them about every book that you're going to say. Go ahead.
Yeah, so my very first book is That Was Then, This Is Now, This Broken Vessel Restored. Those are just some of my books on my website there. My second book is there called Completely Whole. I talk about the being completely whole and the different names of God that brings wholeness to individual spirit, soul, and body. And so those were my two nonfiction books that I started writing. I write in 3 genres: Christian fiction, nonfiction, and children's book. Only God can do such a thing as that. Only the Lord
can do it, girl.
Only God can do that, And so once I wrote those 2 nonfiction books, I was inspired to start doing my anthologies, my book collaborations, But before I got there, my book on my website there, my novel, Secret Places Revealed, was an inspirational novel that I wrote because I wanted to write a story and put my own characters in it and whatnot. I think if you scroll up to the
I want to get to that. Wait a minute, because these even just the covers.
There.
Secret Places. I was wondering. Okay, so Secret Places Revealed. He wasn't looking for love. She was running from the pain. One encounter changed it all. Single and very content, real estate developer Aaron Blackman is determined not to become involved in just another relationship. Oh my goodness, girl. So you're all over the place with this writing. Go ahead.
So I want to share something about this book here, Secret Places Revealed. So it won a 2017 Best Inspirational Romance. It was my very first novel. Let me tell you how God just, knocks the enemy out. Okay. So it was my very first novel that I wrote. And so I became an award-winning novelist with that book, Secret Places Revealed. It's clean Christian fiction. It is two individuals who are trying to fight, from coming together based on love. They have baggage that each of them need to deal with. She's in New York, he's in California. How can these people be put together? And the ultimate purpose is to bring healing to them, let them see that they can love again. And that's the concept of the story. And so, as I mentioned, it's clean Christian fiction, and it will make you talk to the characters. It will make you hate and love these characters.
Girl, I'm gonna get that. And get myself some
yes.
hot tea. Not hot tea. I like iced tea. Forget the hot tea because I'm already having hot flashes. But I'm read Secret Places Revealed. Yes, come through. Novel, Christian novel. Okay, go ahead. What's the other ones?
Yeah, so I did that one, and then I began to do the anthologies, and so my very first anthology, Arise from the Ashes. I was a beginner, doing anthologies, and so now today I've written 8 book collaborations. I published 8 book collaborations, and this is where I've been able to publish and create over 120 first-time best-selling authors, through my book collaborations. And so this is the power of what God can do in a life. This is the power of saying yes to God, even in the midst of the trauma, even in the midst of not even knowing how my life was going to evolve. I said yes to that one book. I said, yes, okay, Lord, I'm going to write that one book. And then God began to send people my way who were pulling on my gifting, who were pulling on my anointing to show them how to write their own books. And so I have just been so blessed to be an overcomer, to show people that it doesn't matter what the enemy does. It doesn't matter how things start in your life. What matters is when you get a word from the Lord and you are obedient to God and you say yes to God, to writing these stories, these amazing transformational stories, and then you are vulnerable. You give of yourself. You tell yourself you're not ashamed of your scars. You're not ashamed of the bruises. You're not ashamed of the process. You own it because God says in his word that he will cause all things to work together for your good, and he's going to be glorified. He's going to be glorified. And for me, being in the position that I am in right now, I give God the glory for it. I would change nothing. I wouldn't change nothing in my life. I wouldn't change no trauma that I've gone through. I wouldn't change any adversity. I wouldn't change the battles that I had to go through, the warfare that I had to fight for, because I see the results of it. What I went through was for this moment right now. For
such a time as this, which is also one of one of the actual anthologies.
Yes.
And almost all of your anthologies that I see on there, I have them in my home here, and I've been reading them, and every single one of them blesses me at a different level. And that's why I see why God is now, because even in your anthologies, I can see your storytelling. And now I understand that it comes from even your novel philosophy and your children's books, and all of it's coming together to just bless everyone that ever picks up a copy of it. This is great. Wow. So where can people get copies of your book?
Yeah, so you could go to my website, PauletteHarper.com. You can also, of course, you can go to Amazon and get all of my books there as well. It is in paperback and ebook. And then when you go to my website, anybody that wants to connect with me in any one of my book collaborations, there's a wait list for you to get on my book collaborations. All righty, my sister Vanita.
Vanita's like, girl, you definitely a preacher, so preach, Dr. Paulette Harper.
So they can connect with me that way as well.
Awesome. Okay, y'all, make sure you go to PauletteHarper.com. What we're going to do is hear from one of our next episode sponsors, and Mackenzie, I'll pull that one in. And then we're going to hear just some closing thoughts from Dr. Paulette Harper. There's so much to you. It's so much to you. So before we even take another break, let me just ask, when you get to the other side, you're there, you're on the other side of the mountain, and you're living your best life now, right?
Yeah.
What advice
I feel that I am.
Huh?
I feel that I am.
Okay. And so, what advice, and that's a big difference. It's like when you know that you are, and you know that you know that you know that you are, there's nothing anybody else can tell you differently.
Yeah.
You know, when you got into a place where I am content in my
Yeah.
experience in my life and what God has given me to do on this journey.
Yeah.
Now that you're there, what advice would you give other women that are striving to still get to that point, but they just, it's like you're locked, you're blocked in your mind. You don't see what you don't see. You're in the picture frame. What
No,
advice?
that's really good, Kim, because that's where I was, And the thing about it is, you can look at my life now and you can see what I've accomplished by the grace of God, by the sure mercies of the Lord Jesus Christ. And you could see that there is another chapter for you. You can see there's another new beginning for you. You can see that there's more opportunities for you. That the chapter that you're in right now is not going to be the end of your story. Hallelujah. That you get to write and pick up the pen and you get to write the story how you want it to end. That's one of my mottos. And that your messy story can become your best story.
Oh, wow. The chapter that you're in right now is not the end of your story. I'm typing this, so I want to make sure I capture that. The chapter you're in right now is not the end of your story. Dr. Paulette Harper is giving that advice today. And you all, anything that's takeaways for you, please put them in the comments section. And again, later throughout today, she'll take a look at some of those comments and even respond to them. If you have questions that you want to get answered, pop them over in the comments section as well. Questions for Dr. Dee Baer, make sure that you pop them there, and she'll also go back and check them as well. Let me pop in our episode sponsor, Ivan Jacobs, right now and learn more about majorpt.com. Hold on.
Number, and you just need help to make that transformation. My name is Ivan Jacobs from Major PT, and allow me to be of service to you as your private personal trainer. In my personal case, I've lost over 100 pounds and I've kept it off. I have made a total transformation, and now we help other people make transformations just like that. What we offer is mobile personal training, where we drive out to your location or we meet up at a location to exercise together, as well as nutrition coaching and habit coaching. We guarantee results or your money back. We understand how important it is and how difficult it can be trying to navigate nutrition and fitness alone, so work with us to make your transformation possible. Our slogan is train you once and train you forever. We don't hope to keep you as clients forever. We hope to inform you so that you know what to do in your own day-to-day life. The workout program is custom tailored to you based off of gym frequency, assessments, and personal preference. We focus on progressively overloading in a safe and proper manner. We can meet up at the gym or your own home. I understand the importance of convenience and will work with what you want. Through the use of applications, you will have access to see the entire program from your phone. You can contact me, track your weight, and add personal goals all within the app. We will help you develop and maintain healthy habits that support your fitness goals for the long term. Together, we can identify areas for positive change and develop strategies to help you stay on track. Nutrition is a crucial component of achieving any fitness goal. As a personal trainer, I understand its importance and how it can make or break your progress. That's why I offer personalized meal recommendations as part of my all-in-one monthly program. With the help of apps, you can access your meal plan and track your nutrition right from your phone, making it easy to stay on track and make progress towards your fitness goals. Let me take care of the nutrition aspect so you can focus on your workouts and achieving your goals. If you would like, I can even accompany you to the grocery store to help you shop for healthier choices or set up an Instacart delivery right to your front door. Click the link below so we can schedule a free consultation to discuss further. We're excited to work with you, and see you later.
All right, everyone. That's majorpt.com. Dr. Paulette, tell everyone a closing comment, because this has been an extremely enlightening episode today. Emotional trauma led to who God ultimately had you to become today, a master storyteller, and creating opportunities for many other people to become authors as well. Over 120 type of situations that you've helped create. Tell us some closing thoughts.
Yeah, so closing thoughts really would be for anybody that is listening and viewing that there is more opportunities for you, and that there is no tear that has been wasted. There is no experience that will go unwasted in God, and that God takes those experiences and He refines who you are, and that it's okay to go through the process. It really is okay, because as you go through the process and you get developed and you get refined, as the word says, that you're going to come out better than how you started, and so just accept what is going on, and then just think about, how can I be better in this? How can my life be better in this? And really, how can I make an impact in somebody else's life, and you never know what that impact is going to be unless you say yes to God and say yes to that process. And so for me, I'm so grateful to the transformation. I'm grateful to the life that God has blessed me with. I'm so grateful that I can see the hand of the Lord here in my life. And I'm so grateful that He allows me to be an influencer so that I can bring other storytellers, other creators, creatives along this journey with me, to show them that you know what? You do not have to be the product of your own experience, but you can profit from your own experiences.
So you can be the beneficiary of your own
Yes.
experiences. That's
Yes.
a good thing, a great thing. Again, I'd like to thank all of our episode sponsors today, Attorney Charles Everidge with Hunter Everidge Law Firm. And make sure you check them out if you're in the Richmond, Carolinas area, or if you're in the Alabama area, and anywhere in the North Carolina, South Carolina area, check them out. And also, we were sponsored today by SilverShield-Security.com and ConfidenceTones.com, where I've already shared to make sure you stay connected with Dr. Dee Baer to learn more about confidence tones, as well as 21 days to your best you. And that is 1-800-820-0584, or visit drjodee.com. And I'm so grateful that she was here today with us also. This is your latest book that I want to make sure I pop up, your latest anthology, Women with Unshakable Faith. What can people expect when they read that book?
Yeah, you have stories of 14 powerhouse women, trailblazers, who are sharing their stories of unshakable faith, women who have been healed from cancer, divorce, many different gamuts of experiences they go through, and how faith moved them, how faith fought for them. So it's a very empowering book. Whatever you're going through in life, I know that you will find a story in that book of these one of these amazing women who who said yes to this process and yes to sharing their authentic truth.
I love it. I'm impressed with you, Dr. Paulette Harper. And now hearing your story here on the Kim Jacobs Show, I'm even more impressed. So thank you for continuing to always bless our studio audience with your presence and the presence of those that are a part of your anthologies. And keep shining. Keep letting your beautiful light shine across this world. You're a blessing. So thank you,
Kim. Thank you so much for having me. I appreciate you and what you're doing.
Thank you. Listen, anybody that wants to donate to the Kim Jacobs Show, I encourage you to do so, because this is the only way we get to keep our program is fully paid for through community members like yourselves. So any donation that you provide is greatly appreciated, and it goes towards our production and towards our team members that have to be able to do this stuff that they do throughout the time of contributing to the Kim Jacobs Show as their jobs. Okay. So thank you so much for any flyers, templates, all of the stuff that you all see to be able to bring balance to this world. One household at a time is what we use the funds for. So please donate today. No amount is too small, and we greatly appreciate it. The information is there on the screen. And for the podcast listeners, is Cash App, $ Kim Jacobs Inc., or paypal.me/Kim Jacobs Inc. You can also go to Venmo at The Kim Jacobs Show, or become a Patreon member and get some exclusive content. Patreon.com/Kim Jacobs, The Kim Jacobs Show. All right. So that's today's episode. We have a great rest of the week lined up for you. And I do want to take a second to let you know, tomorrow we're going to have on two guests, Jacqueline Samuels and Catherine Lawrence, and they're going to be talking about African-American nutrition. Totally free information that you're going to be receiving tomorrow. And you definitely want to tune in for that episode. It is Cystic Fibrosis Awareness Month. And on Thursday, we're going to have Cystic Fibrosis Awareness Month with CF Moms. And if any of you know me, you know part of my story is that I actually am the mother of 3 children that fight cystic fibrosis. And Rebecca Lewis is also a mom that has a daughter that has cystic fibrosis, and she's kicking it in the head. We're going to talk with her on this Thursday at 11 o'clock a.m. Eastern Standard Time. And on Friday, guess what? We have some of our Freestyle Friday experts that's going to be here to honor some moms. And the way that we're going to honor them is by sharing information for mental health, also self-care tips, and how to just bring some overall sunshine into your life as a mommy. That's going to be happening on Friday. So make sure you're in your virtual seats. We will look forward to seeing you every day the rest of this week at 11 o'clock a.m. Eastern Standard Time. Thank you, Dr. Paulette.
Thank you, Kim. I appreciate you. Love you.
I love you. Thank you, Dr. Joe Dee Baer. Love you. Thank you, virtual studio audience. Love you. Love you, Mackenzie. Thank you, Cassandra, for doing all of the things that you do to make the Kim Jacobs Show great, and for Pastor Selwyn Davis as well, and all of my team members. I appreciate each and every one of you. God bless you. Have a great rest of your day, and close us out. We're ready to go. Carry on with the rest of your day. Bye-bye. I think, Mackenzie's not even back there. What in the world? She had an appointment, and I'm sitting here waiting for her to close out. She's probably like, grab and go. All right. We'll talk to you all tomorrow at 11 o'clock a.m. Have a great rest of your day. Thank you for tuning in to today's episode of The Kim Jacobs Show, and for being in the virtual studio audience. Your presence truly does make a difference, and I look forward to you bringing your friends and family to join you in the virtual studio audience Monday through Friday at 11 o'clock a.m. Eastern Standard Time. I look forward to seeing you, and make it a great day.